Have you guys ever heard of a pension maximization strategy? This strategy gets pushed around from time to time, and I've never really seen it quite work out in the best terms for Washington State employees. So today's video, I'm going to explain a little bit more what a pension maximization strategy is, how it works, and why I really don't think it's in the best interest for most state employees. This way you guys can be prepared if an advisor or life insurance agent comes to you with this idea. You can have more knowledge on if it's actually going to work out in your best interest. So pension maximization strategy is essentially when someone tells you to take your pension in full. So in other words, you want to waive your survivorship benefit options. And instead, what you would do is you would purchase life insurance. And then in the event that you were to pass away, your spouse would get the life insurance, and that should be enough to replace the income. That's kind of the theory. So let me pull up an actual benefit estimate, and I'll kind of walk you guys through the numbers and then tell you guys kind of why I think it doesn't quite work. All right, so on my screen here is a retirement benefit estimate that one of my clients received earlier this year that I'm going to use that as an example. So if someone approaches you with a pension maximization strategy, the concept behind it all, and what they're really trying to do here is take the difference that you would receive between your full benefit and taking a survivorship option and use that difference to purchase life insurance, right? So in this example here on the screen, they would say, let's say you're leaning towards option 2, and that's often the number they're going to use because it's the lowest benefit you would get. So that gives more premium for them to use for life insurance. So if you were to take, the 43.47 in this example, right, the full benefit, we're trying to do is find the difference here. So 43.47, and if you said, hey, I'm going to take the joint option, you'd only get 34.82. You're going to be losing $865 a month. So essentially what you're doing is you're purchasing life insurance in a roundabout way from DRS. You're paying them or giving up $865 a month of your pension. So in the event that something happened to you, your spouse would continue to get 100% of that benefit, right? That's what option 2 is. So if someone's coming to the strategy, they're going to say, hey, take that full benefit. And if you're okay with the option 2, we'll take that $865 a month that you would be giving to the state, and so we're going to buy a private life insurance policy for you. In the event you pass away, your spouse will get a lump sum of money that's tax-free, and you can use that to replace your income. So let's see if it actually works. So if you said, hey, there's $865 per month, how much can that actually buy me of insurance, right? So the way I like to look at this, rather than looking at how much insurance you can buy, you want to make sure it's the right decision. So you need to know how much insurance do I need in order to replace this income, right? So let's say I wanted my spouse to get that $34.82 per month, right? So in a year, that's $41,784. And to make things easier, I'm not going to put costing adjustments in here just yet. So 41,000 is what we need to replace. Now, it depends on what kind of rate of return you'd expect to get from that money, right? So in the event I pass away and my spouse receives a lump sum benefit from the life insurance company, what rate of return do I need to earn in order to replace this $41,000? So if you said, hey, I think I can earn on average 4%, right? That's kind of what I've heard the safe withdrawal rate is. So if we divide that by 4%, it says that I need about a little over $1 million of benefit in order to generate that 41,000 if I'm just pulling out 4% on average. All right, so now if you said, hey, instead of 4%, I think I could get a 5% rate of return. So you took that 41,784 and you just divided by 5%, 835, right? So the higher rate of return that you think you can earn on it, or the higher distribution you want to take, the lower amount of death benefit you essentially would have to purchase in that case. So it's 835, right? So you need $1 million to 835 to make this work, depending on the rate of return or withdrawal rate that you plan to take for your spouse. So the question is, can the difference of 865 actually purchase that much insurance? Well, of course, remember, when we're doing life insurance, first of all, you can't just buy it. It's not like car insurance or home insurance. You first have to qualify for it. So that means you have to medically qualify. So they're going to do medical exams and things like that, and that can adjust the premium or completely disqualify you from even purchasing it to begin with. So that's the first thing. We have to qualify for it, and then we can see how much can we get for it. Now, if you're using the strategy, you want to use permanent life insurance, not term. Yes, term is cheap, but it's temporary. It's rented insurance. At some point in the future, it's going to expire, and you would hate to do this deal, clearly to give up your pension, only for you to outlive your term insurance, and then your spouse is left with nothing, right? So permanent insurance is what you're going to be looking at in this type of strategy. No, I just did a quick search for, life insurance rates. So whole life insurance, I think they've surveyed about 14 different policies for 14 different companies for kind of average prices on here. So you can see someone in their 50s, if you even just get $500,000, it's $1,000 a month for males, about 50,000 or 837 a month for females, right? And that's just for $500,000. I mean, we knew that's not enough based on the numbers we just ran, right? $1 million, you're looking at $2,100 to $1,600 per month. So at age 65, that you'd be saving by not taking the state's pension wouldn't even cover this, right? So that's problem number one, is oftentimes the pension payouts or the deduction that you're taking aren't usually high enough to justify purchasing a private policy like this. Now, there are cheaper policies out there. Whole life is one of the more expensive ones because it comes with the most guarantees. Your premium's guaranteed, and you have a set interest rate that's guaranteed. If you go the variable route or you go with an index policy, those premiums are variable. They can rise in the future as you get older, and you're hoping that the investment portion is going to offset that, so you don't see anything net out of pocket. Now, that's kind of the theory, and they're cheaper because you're taking on that risk, and it might not work out in your benefit. For those reasons, I would only use whole life if I were to even consider the strategy, but as you can see here on the screen, more than likely it's not going to work out in your benefit. Now, the second problem with it, so even if you found a situation where it did, you have to remember that the state's pension options all come with cost of living adjustments. So when we run these numbers today, they're going to be completely different 1 year from now when my benefit is now higher, right? So as my benefit gets higher due to cost of living adjustments, that means I need more and more insurance to cover that, right, for my spouse. Your permanent insurance policies, 9 times out of 10, are going to be what they call level benefits. So you purchase the $865,000 or $1 million that you need, and it's set like that. It doesn't increase each year. So as the dollar devalues over time, or as our income increases, we can't replace that income. We're stuck with a set amount of dollars. Now, you do have the option to purchase increasing benefit or increasing death benefit, but that comes at a much higher expense. And if you have a hard time affording the level option, there's no way you're going to afford the increasing option. So what does this all mean? If someone's approaching you with the pension maximization strategy, more than likely, you're going to be better off choosing not to do it that and just taking the one from the state. It's usually less expensive and just a lot less work and hassle in the long run. There's no chance of things going wrong, insurance companies going under, your policies falling apart, or any event where you can't afford it. Usually life insurance premiums are the first thing that people cut out of their budget. So you avoid all of that hassle. When can this potentially work? It could work in the events that if you have a large permanent policy when you're young, in your 30s or 40s, then maybe it would work out, right? If the cost that I already sunk into the policy is much lower than the 865 or whatever I need to replace, then it stands a chance. Now, some people argue that because the benefit from life insurance policy is tax-free, you don't need to cover that full, $30,000 or whatever I showed you on the screen earlier, because that's the pre-tax number you got to adjust for taxes. And that's 100% correct. But even adjusting for taxes, it's still not going to work out because you have that cost of living adjustment. So for those reasons, anytime you see someone approach you with a pension maximization strategy, that's a big red flag. I would definitely take some time, consult with a couple other people before even implementing something like that. All right, that's all I had for you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. I'll see you guys all next week. Remember that your future depends on what you do today.